Today we're going to be installing the Tails operating system distro. The first thing we're going to need to do is go ahead and get the Tails install from the Tails website. That's going to be tails.boum.org. Over on the right hand side you're going to click Tails 3.0. And typically you can go through the entire Let's Start the Journey and it'll walk you through everything. But I'm going to go ahead and click Download Only. I downloaded the torrent version earlier, but you can download it through the PGP or through HTTPS, however you feel comfortable downloading and installing this distro. Once you download it, and as you'll see here in just a moment, I've already got it downloaded and it's in an ISO folder. We're going to go ahead and, because I run Linux, I'm going to use the DD command. If you're using some other distro, you can go through their Let's Start documentation and it will actually walk you through how to install it on a Mac or through a Windows PC. The other tabs you see up there we'll talk about in just a moment. But here I'm going to go ahead and DD that image to the thumb drive. I want to go over the DD command I'm using right here. I'm using sudo DD. I'm going to give it its byte size of 4 megabytes. That's the BS equals 4M. I'm then going to give it the input file of where I have the Tails distribution, and then the output file of where the thumb drive is. So as you see now, I went ahead and put my input file in, and now I'm giving it the output file of where the thumb drive is. While we're doing the DD command, let's look at some of these other tabs I have up there. The first one is the Diceware homepage. This is where you can read more about Diceware. The next is the EFF article on extending the Diceware list that they've done, what words they've modified and how they've done other things. And then the last tab up there is actually a Diceware list from the EFF that I'm going to be using to create secure passwords while I'm waiting on things to download, DD to install things, and while I'm waiting for Tails to install to itself. As you see, here's this list. Lots and lots of words. There's 7,776 words on this list. So plenty to randomly choose from. Now that DD has finished, what you'll want to do is shut down your computer, set it to boot from a USB drive, and then reboot your computer into the Tails operating system. To simulate that here today, what I'm going to use is VirtualBox to simulate booting that USB thumb drive the first time. Tails will take a few minutes to boot, and while it's booting on mine, I go ahead and make sure I pass through the USB device that I'm going to need to. When it's booting off a regular computer, you're not going to have to worry about that. But once it's booted up, you'll be greeted with this screen. And I typically go into the extra settings, which is the little plus sign at the bottom, and I click there, and then I tell it to network connect nothing. I take away the network connection just as a little bit more of a measure of security while I'm working with Tails. And then again, it's going to take a few more moments to finish starting up. Once it finishes starting, you'll be greeted with a screen similar to this. Mine shows a warning as I am running in a virtual machine, but yours will not, or should not, if you're booting straight from the USB thumb drive. The next thing we're going to do now that Tails is started in this configuration off a first thumb drive is we're going to go to Applications, Tails, and Tails Installer, and install on a second thumb drive. This adds a little bit more security to know that your computer is not connected to the internet and that anything the installer does should be offline and not snoopable by Big Brother. Once this install pops up, we have three options: install by cloning, upgrade by cloning, and upgrade from ISO. What we're going to choose today is the install by cloning option. We're going to make sure our thumb drive is in and it will typically pop up and let us know which drive we are trying to install into. Once this screen comes up, verify that it has the proper target device, and then click Install Tails. This, like the DD command or any other installation into the primary thumb drive, will take a long time. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video and speed it up, and we'll come back after the install is done. While you're waiting for your install to finish, go ahead and roll up some more diceware. Once the installation is complete, you'll see this message. You can go ahead and click Close and close the installer and reboot the medium. And as you're rebooting the computer, you go ahead and pull out the first thumb drive and you should be able to boot from the second. Once you've done this, you have officially completed your Tails installation. I do go ahead and reboot one more time here, and I'll show you that again. But as of tomorrow, we'll do our first installation of a persistent partition, which will be encrypted with Lux, and I'll show you that tomorrow, as well as installing our first Bitcoin wallet and securing it. So, like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll talk with you tomorrow.